Okay, so yesterday I talked about how AOC pretty much stepped in it by hitting the hornet's nest by saying that Jill Stein and the Green Party are not serious. Now, I have my criticisms of all third parties, but the thing is, let's be very clear what third parties have to face off against, and that is state and federal rules and regulations that are enforced by the Democratic and Republican parties. Hey, look, bipartisanship. See, Democrats and Republicans can get along in stopping third parties from existing. Isn't that great? And so AOC decides to do her cringe little Instagram video. However, thanks to this outstanding audience that I have, I was able to find, and again, people tagged me on this on Twitter, Butch Ware's message to AOC Pelosi, or AOC, as I like to call her. But I found it to be an enlightening response. And then on Newsweek, Jill Stein and Chase Oliver could cost Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania. So in other words, the old tried and true tactic by the Democrats is once again to smear third parties as being spoilers. Third parties are not spoilers. Third parties are not spoilers. Third parties are not spoilers, okay? And again, even if Jill Stein wasn't on the ballot in 2016, even if she wasn't running, there is a 100% certainty that Green Party voters were never, ever, ever going to support Hillary Clinton. And so, Democrats, stop voter shaming third parties. It didn't work in 2016, it didn't work in 2020, and it's not going to work now, especially now. But you know what? Let's actually start this off with at least some fun, because I want to see Butch Ware just kind of give a firm slap to the pride of AOC. So let's go ahead and play this video.
I heard a rumor that AOC Pelosi, holder of the land speed record for quickest betrayal of the people, has had something to say out the side of her neck about my sister soldier, Dr. Jill Stein, and called our behavior predatory. Interesting. See, we don't take no PAC money. We are not knee-deep in Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and y'all's blood money. So we can't come out every day. We come out every 4 years when it's time to give the American people a choice. And in the meantime, Greens are on the ground working in park and recreation boards, city councils, mayor's offices, while y'all are partying at your Met Gala and muzzling Palestinians. Predatory. Predatory is murdering 200,000 people in 11 months. And then when they try to speak up, muzzling them when they come up on the stage. You slaughter Palestinians like animals, and then you muzzle them like animals. And I have seen the data. We already know that you have lost Michigan. We already know that you have lost Pennsylvania. We already know that you have lost Georgia, and that's why you're panicking. You went from 65% of the Muslim vote in those places to under 20%. You're finished. Dead man walking, AOC Pelosi. And you saw the numbers, where 29% of Muslims across the nation are voting with Jill Stein and Butch Ware. And they haven't even seen us on the stage yet. Your cosplay activism, narc, means nothing to real public servants, because y'all are some politicians that sold out for the dough. The worst part for you is that you never saw us coming. But when your party is broken, crashing and burning in the disastrous genocide, soaked in blood in your electoral defeat, you will have no one but to blame but yourselves.
And for people wanting to know, who is that? Why, that is Dr. Jill Stein's VP. And look, after hearing that 2-minute burn, all I could say is this.
Oof. 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 Oof.
Hey, that was great. But now, hold on. Here we go. Jill Stein and Chase Oliver could cost Kamala Harris in Pennsylvania. According to this poll, third-party candidates could affect Kamala Harris's chances in Pennsylvania, according to new polling. With 19 electoral college votes, the battleground state is a critical one that a candidate needs to win the presidential race. But A new poll suggests Harris may face an obstacle to winning there. Third-party candidates, Dr. Jill Stein of the Green Party and Chase Oliver of the Libertarian Party. Okay, and my audience, to my audience across the political spectrum, no matter where you stand politically, emotionally, society, religiously, generationally, are you concerned about Kamala Harris potentially losing Pennsylvania? Type 1 for yes, Kit. We got to stop Trump. He's a bad man, a very, very bad man. He's an orange bad man. A type 2, hell no. I'm supporting third parties. Get the F out of here. I don't care. They don't pay me enough to care. Exactly. I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat. If I was a betting man, there'd be a lot of 2s. Look at this. My goodness. Look at this. And Freddie G typing. Not good. Not good. No, it's not good. It's not good at all. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So a new poll by Wick, no, not John Wick, between August 27th and 29th shows Harris and Donald Trump are tied in a head-to-head matchup with 49% each. However, when third-party candidates are included, the former president leads with 48% to Harris, with 48% to Harris's 47%. Okay, so a margin error of 1. Okay, great. So both the Greens parties, Stein and Libertarian candidate Chase Oliver, are polling at 1% each. A poll in Pennsylvania by Singal, conducted between August 14th and 15th, showed a similar result, with Harris leading Trump by 1 point in a head-to-head race, while Trump led by 1 point when third-party candidates were included. So you know what they're going to be doing? They're going to be implementing harsher laws to prevent third parties from being on the ballot. Now, in Illinois, Jill Stein's a write-in. And the Greens have managed to secure ballot access in a good portion of the states. However, again, with articles like this, what this does is raise up the fears that, oh no, here come the third parties. In the poll, Stein at 2%, while Robert F. Kennedy polled at 5%. However, Kennedy will no longer be on the state's ballot because he withdrew from the presidential race later in August. So there you go. However, other polls have shown that the presence of third-party candidates on the ballot in Pennsylvania helps Harris, including the most recent Bloomberg Morning Consult poll conducted between August 23rd and 26th. It shows Harris' lead over Trump increases from 3 to 5 points among likely voters when third-party candidates are included, with Stein and Oliver polling at 1 point each. So which one is it? Be afraid or not be afraid? Cry or joy? Joy. We need a lot of joy in this world. Let's get the joy out. Meanwhile, in a Fulcata poll, that is a terrible name, from August 16th, shows that in a head-to-head matchup, Harris and Trump are tied, with Harris leads by 1 point when third-party candidates, including Kennedy, are on the ballot. If the Democrats lose to Donald Trump again, they have no one to blame but themselves for their failures and betrayals that paved the way for Trump's rise in the first place, which continued unabated. Science Communications Director Dave Schwab told Newsweek. Yeah, in a democracy, no one owns your vote. Truth. Candidates need to earn your vote. Sounds reasonable. And the only spoilers are the political elites who work overtime to deny a meaningful democratic choice to voters who are hungry for a real choice. We urge all people of conscience to reject the corporate parties of war and Wall Street and cast a powerful vote against endless war and genocide for an economy that actually works for working people and for a livable future for our children. Jeez, sounds so reasonable. Pennsylvania is expected to see a tight race in November, with Harris currently leading by 1.2 points statewide, according to 538. Now, there's a lot of confidence for Kamala Harris in all these polls, but, and I want to be very clear on this, we've seen this hype before. Remember Hillary Clinton being the lead in certain key battleground swing state? Do you remember all the media articles saying that Hillary Clinton had this in the bag? I do. Now, again, voter turnout's going to be key. And remember, election integrity in the United States is as real as Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, Santa Claus, and the Tooth Fairy. I know. So we'll see if that actually happens. We'll see what happens on that day. However, Harris is in the lead. She may still not win in November if she fails to win over voters older than 65, who make up just under 20% of the population in Pennsylvania, according to a pollster and Democratic political strategist Sedell Lake. It is a little bit more conservative than most of the polls that we were seeing, but I think Pennsylvania is really tight. That's what she said. And there are other battleground states that have been moving in Harris's direction. This has been one that is a little bit more resistant. Pennsylvania is the oldest of the battleground states, so that age distribution works against Harris. So now they're afraid of all this blowing up in, well, Harris's face. But the thing is, look, Democrats, you've been hijacking third parties. You've been denying third parties a chance to be on the ballot, to be on the debate stage. And, a lot of people did respond to AOC. You got Brianna Joy Gray. The argument that the Greens only show up every 4 years is an incredible tell. It reveals that the person making the argument only pays attention every 4 years and is deeply ignorant of all the work that's been done while they're back at brunch. Again, this is more from Brianna Joy Gray. If you want to learn more about what the Green Party has actually been up to, here are some recent episodes from, of course, the Bad Face podcast, of course. And then, hey, we got our friend Nick from RBN. The fact that Democrats ordered AOC to smear Dr. Jill Stein is how you know Democrats are currently terrified right now. Holy shite. Those internal polls must be devastating. To which I have to say again, look, Democrats, you are afraid and you're showing your fear. You're showing your fear of, oh, that's right, that maybe your old left coalition has actually left you. Now, I, for a long time, really did have some hope for AOC, at least way back in the day in 2018. I remember, hell, I was bright-eyed and enthusiastic starting off on radio. But as time progressed and reality was sinking in, it is abundantly clear that AOC is part of the political machine. She has shown her betrayal numerous times. And all this talk about AOC being this progressive fighter, she's the most ineffective woman in Congress right now. All right. She doesn't inspire enthusiasm. She doesn't inspire support. Hell, if anything, every single one of her political opponents, be they independent or conservative, or even Democrats who still hold on to the childish, fictitious idea that you could reform the Democratic Party, shouldn't look at her as a serious person, because she hasn't been a serious person. She abandoned the forced to vote voters. She abandoned progressives and independents, all for access with the political establishment, and hijack ideas that were created from third parties, like the Green Party, like the Green New Deal, which is something that AOC did not write up on her own. She did a click, copy, paste. Nothing about her is original. It's all an act. It's all for show. She never showed up to the protesters or spoke to the people on the ground at the DNC convention in Chicago. And even in the safety, the confines at the United Center, when the uncommitted voters were speaking out, she didn't listen to them. She dismissed them. And yet now she has the audacity to attack Dr. Jill Stein. Well, AOC, if you were following orders from the Democratic Party, here's the thing that's probably going to happen. What you did, be it on purpose or inadvertently, or however which way you want to look at it, you brought more attention to Dr. Jill Stein by smearing her right now, and people looking at her and saying, yeah, maybe we should give the Democrats a middle finger, as they should, as every one of us should. Break away, because you're not going to get anything from the Democrats.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry. It's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, not me, us, as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark, and all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we can exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.